Hey guys, this is craphunter and welcome to another episode of World of Tanks. Woo! Now, today we're going to be having a look at the SU85B. This is the Russian Tier 4 tank destroyer, which I finally grinded through. I've already bought the SU85, so I'm just like, thank God that's over. But that said, looking back on it now, it wasn't actually that much of a bad tank. Sure, there'll be some advantages, which I'm sure there are advantages to this thing, but you know, it's difficult to tell. But anyway, we'll get through that in the review. Before though, if you guys were wondering about the series I was doing, about, you know, me grinding through this thing whilst you guys were watching, I thought at first it was a great idea, and of course now it isn't. I gave up on that one, to be honest with you. Mainly because, like I said, I thought it was a good idea, and I thought it would be entertaining, but then I realised upon looking some of the footage of, like, maybe the first 2 episodes, I was like, right, I don't really sound that entertaining, and I sound more frustrating, because it's just like, for God's sake, why won't you work? Oh, you stupid gun! And I'd be like, getting really frustrated at the fact that I'm not quite there yet. And it's one of those things which, it sounds a bit ridiculous, but you all go through there at some point. You want the tank to be perfect, and it's not quite there yet. And then when you realise you're there, then you can have fun with it. That's how I'm like with some of these tanks. And, you know, I guess it's just a lesson to be learned, I guess. So anyway, the SU85B, if you have a look at the vehicle details, tank destroyer SU85B. That's probably not the better name for it. A further modernization of the SU876, which is the more common vehicle of the Second World War. It's a bit ironic. Developed in the winter of 44 to 45. That is quite a while. They took a while to do that. Russian improvisation is amazing. Yeah, so it's an upgraded version of that. So this is technically after that. Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, never saw mass production, and to be honest with you, it's not a bad tier 4 tank. Well, tank destroyer. It's certainly weak. Not as, I would say, in my opinion, and I'm not saying this because I have a bias, but in the sense because I've driven a few tier 4 tank destroyers. She's in the middle, you know, when it comes to overall effectiveness, because I would say that the top tier, or the top, in my opinion, before we go on, it's my opinion, before you shoot me and say, oh, you're an arsehole because you said that. In my opinion, this is the top tier 4 tank destroyer. It is perfect. It's perfectly balanced because you've got accuracy with your weapon. And yes, of course, it's German engineering, but still. You've got accuracy with the weapon itself and, you know, good power to it. You've also got hull. You've got a very good hull. In fact, most tier 4 tanks and tier 3 tanks will struggle to deal with you. You've also got the derpers. But to be honest with you, looking back on it now, the hetzer works with this, and it can work without this. So that makes it even better. You have good view. Well, okay, view range is not exactly great, but you've got a great radio range. Your speed is pretty good. Your traverse speed's very good, and with a good crew, you're unstoppable. I've been in a tier 9 match and survived one of these things. I may have mentioned this a fair amount of times, but I'm reinforcing the point here. I'm very proud of this tank, and I'm very glad to be her owner. I've actually had this tank since... Could it be over a year now? I've had this thing for over a year, and she's not failed me yet. Of course, when the tier 4 open-wheel tank's coming on patch 8.9, we shall see. No, she's going to be my love forever. So, with the Russians... Now, the Russians are different beasts altogether. Now, the irony about Russia is their guns, although are very powerful, like tier 4... tank destroyers are to be feared, because this thing can do a shit ton of damage. It can one-shot most tier 1s and 2s, which is quite nice. So God forbid if you ever see a tier 1 or 2 tank, or God forbid you're in a tier 1 or 2 tank, and then you see an SU85B, you hide. You hide. But yeah, the Russians like the alpha damage. They do enjoy the big guns. And to be fair to them, they are reasonably successful with them. The gun selection in this tank is very good. Obviously, when you start, it's not perfect. And depending on how much you spent researching back when you're in the SU76, you'll have I think you actually have to go through the ZIS-3 to get... Yeah, so this is the tank which will... So this tank here is the one that kind of benefits the SU-85 if you've researched properly. But with but no, you get, I suppose really with the SU76 is, you know, I think it pretty much shares the same kind of advantage the SU85 has over certain tier 4 tanks, because it's got a big gun, and for what tier it's in, it does a fair amount of alpha, and that gun especially, the tier 6 85 LB2S, very powerful to tier 4. But the big, of course, flaw about the Russian guns, Russian tanks, is their accuracy and the aiming time. You've got to be extremely careful when utilizing tank destroyers from the Soviet Union, because generally speaking, you miss, you die. And we'll go into that in a minute. But anyway, on to the actual review. So, first of all, let's have a look at hit points. 260 hit points. That's not much. I mean, it's about 10 lower than the German, where is it? The German hetzer, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's 10% low. It's 10 hit points lower. The French in their SAL 40 are 280, so that ironically enough, the worst nation has the best tank. But that said, also, it also is really crap. I've not ever seen a SAL 40 get more than 2 kills in a match. The British have their favourite vehicle, which I can only... Oh, there you go. Yeah. They have the, not that one, the no, not even that one, the Alecto. They have the same amount of hit points in that. The American, where is it? Now, the Americans have a selection of 2 tank destroyers, each of which going to the different ones. I'm currently grinding on that one, but I'm looking forward to that one. Well, I want to get that one first, but never mind. So, the Americans have 275, that's for one of their tank destroyers. The other tank destroyer has 250. So, yeah, both of which are open compartments, and both of which have relatively light armor. So, yeah, I'd say you're in the middle. Once again, the SU85 pretty much is in the middle when it comes to... Where is it? It's pretty much in the middle when it comes to health and hit points. So that's quite good. I mean, okay, you're not on the middle, lower end pretty much. You're on the lower end to the middle, so you're not enjoying the greater advantages, but at least you're not French. And, you know, it's not great, but that said, a tank destroyer was never really meant for proper combat. Weight-wise, you are about roughly 12.8 tons, which makes you not exactly a light one, but lighter than some. You also have a decent engine, actually, of 210 horsepower, which if we view over to here, doesn't actually say, does it? Nope. Right, so, yeah, well, basically, there's a few mathematical processes, which makes you rather fast in the tier 4s, which is it's not a bad advantage. 43 kilometers per hour is actually quite a nice speed limit to get yourself to. It's not so fast that you can bug in and bug out, like, say, the Alecto, but at the same time, you can still make something, you can still get away if you're desperate. Now let's go to the worst part of this tank, the armor. 25 to the front, 15 to both to the sides and the rear. This thing cannot take a punch to save its life. You could throw, I've already said throw a pebble and it will explode, so I need to think of something else. A pigeon can fly into it and it will explode. So you need to be excessively careful about this, which in a sense I suppose is kind of a good thing, because a bad tank destroyer player will be the person who exposes himself and goes out into the open and does a stupid thing which reveals himself to the opposing team, therefore by killing him, making him rage quit and try something which is a little noobier. But so in a sense this is a good thing if you ever had to look on a positive side of having shitty armor. It teaches you to be careful with your shots, as well as keep making sure that you're in a good position. Now, the gun position itself is kind of helpful, / not really helpful. Because as you can see, it's just ever so slightly to the left. Whereas with some, I think if I'm not too mistaken, the SU-76 was directly in the middle. Or was it on the same? No, the SU-76 was on the side as well. But for some tank destroyers, if you look at the hetzer, either the hetzer is in like on the right hand side of the tank, so basically you can take cover behind buildings but also get shot. You can get cover most of your tanks against shots out of it. I think it's the same for the SAL-40, or is it in the middle? No, for some tank destroyers you've got the gun in the middle, which kind of makes sense. For the Alecto, I think it's the same deal. You have the gun in the middle. For Yanks, I think... Now, the Yanks have the advantage because they have... Not only do they have... Well, they got one in the middle, but they also have one with a turret. So, the Americans kind of prosper a little bit, but not that much. But no, for this one, this is pretty much in the middle, but it's just... I don't know. It's not really much of a problem, but if you're a person who just... It's just a little bit of a warning, because it can be... I'm not saying it will be, but it can prove to be a little difficult to get your aim... Or to get when you're in cover mainly, you kind of if you like using cover a lot, this might muck up your, or might make it helpful. I don't know. But yeah, it's ever so slightly to the left, so just a little bit of an advantage. For view range though, you are very good with 390 view range, nearly 400. But I think that's an advantage of the open top. So all of the other tank destroyers actually who are open top share the same kind of advantage. No, you're better than the MAA1. The T40 is absolutely trouncing you. The Alecto, same. Hetzer has a this is where the Hetzer doesn't perform as well because it's closed, so only 260. I think the SAL-40 is in the... No, it's actually better. So the SAL-40 is better, and the Chinese don't have it. So you're pretty good when it comes to view range, the irony of all things. And for radio, I haven't unlocked it, but you can go up to 525 meters. Now that's not... Well, it's alright, it does the job, especially at tier 4, but there are some tanks, destroyers that have much better radios than you. I think Germany has the 615 with its own special FUG 11, which is amazing. The British... Now, the British get something... I know the British have good radios. The British always seem to have good radios. Yeah, they have the Mark 19... They have the 19 Mark II, which is basically 450. So, it's not as good as yours. So, that's another good one. The French actually get a tier 7 radio, which gets 455, which is not as... I think it's not as good as yours. And the Yanks, I think they get a little bit of an advantage. The Americans have a tier 10 radio. Shit! So the Americans beat you in radio, but I think Soviet Union gets like 1. Yeah, the Soviet Union with its 6. Yeah, 525. You're on the higher end of the radio spectrum, which is quite good, and it also acts as an early warning system. So there's the advantages, I suppose. So there. Like I said, this is a kind of in-the-middle tank, as you're seeing right now. So, you've got a good warning system, you've got a good radius for view range, and you're quite fast. So, what about the guns? Well, in compensation for the fact that you have rather shitty armor, and not, you know, average kind of, pretty okay-ish, but not perfect kind of systems, you have a selection of guns. If we go over here, does it do that? Or do we have to click on it? Yeah. You have got a vast selection of guns. Most of which, only one of which, you start out with this gun, basically, from the 76mm ZIS-3, which isn't bad. It's not bad at all, especially for tier 4. But it can be upgraded. This is the stock gun, and it's not grand. Now, this is something I didn't do, but looking back on it now, wouldn't be a bad idea. And in fact, if I ever do a review of the SU86, I'll probably recommend that even more. But let's have a look. Well, yeah, I would. Looking back on it now, having that wouldn't be a bad idea. If you're an aspiring Russian tier tank destroyer player and you're starting in the SU86, grind out the ZIS-2, because if you have the ZIS-2, you'll have much better penetration and much better accuracy / aiming time, which should allow you to get some decent results in game, rather than having to grind using that to get to that. But once you've got this gun, you're pretty fine. Okay, accuracy wise, it's not great. And if we have a look at the characteristics, caliber-wise, it's very good. And that's the thing about Russian tanks. Caliber is pretty much everything when it comes to them. And I think this is like the most powerful caliber for tier 4 tank destroyers without them being derps. So, yeah, pretty impressive. You've got the 85mm caliber, you've got a decent firing rate, good penetration, 160 damage, that's very good, and I don't think it changes. If that's pretty much the highest amount of damage you'll be, on average, you'll be able to do. But at tier 4, you're not going to want it, you don't really need anything else. It suffers in accuracy and a very, very long aiming time, 2.3 seconds. Ooh, not very good for tier 4. But if you keep grinding, you'll be able to eventually get this gun, which is the freaking bomb. Oh my days, it's amazing. Well, it's not perfect for any means, but it's a definite improvement. If we have a little bit of a comparison between the two, you'll have a little look-see. So this is the upgraded one, and this is the stock one. The stock one has the same, the stock and upgraded has the same amount of fire. You can see 13.33, 13.33. What is a good thing, though, is the old gun, well, so the old gun has only 119 penetration on average, whereas the upgraded gun has 130 on average. This is basically, to quote certain people, this thing can take on tier 6 tanks. Because undoubtedly, you're going to be put into tier 6 matches, either by your own choice or, unfortunately, by the... Well, I suppose if you... no, more likely you're not wanting to. I mean, obviously, no one ever wants to be put in unfair matching. But you can definitely take on tier 6s with this gun. I wouldn't advise it, but you can do it if necessary. It's also got more accuracy. It's about it has 4 meters worth more of accuracy, which is fantastic. The only downside, of course, is that you've still got the 2.3 second aiming time. But that said, take your time with it, and you'll be able to make the shots without problems. And you're just being careful. Like I said, just be careful when you're using this thing, because otherwise, it can be quite difficult to escape when someone spotted you, because they always go. This thing is a big target for anyone in either tier 4, 5, or 6, because most of the time, it takes about 1 or 2 shots to kill you. And that's a pain in the ass. Can be. Well, apart from that, though, she's a pretty good tank. I mean, in overall, she's alright. She does the job, and she does it well. I mean, she's not perfect by any means necessary. I mean, Jesus Christ. She's, she's very thinly armored, quite a big target, and isn't, doesn't have the ability to slip away. But out at the same time, you've got when you have a decent radio, when you've upgraded to the full radio, you don't have to worry. It's a bit like the Germans. Once you get one of these radios, you're set for life. So that's quite a helpful advantage. The engine speed as well means that you can get out of there relatively quickly, which is quite good. And the gun, is quite a nice. Once you've got the final gun, this thing works quite well in combat. I mean, you can't pull clutch shots like I've unfortunately fallen in the habit of doing because of the German accuracy. But that said, you're on par with a few of the German guns, and that's something to be quite happy about. So, this thing is pretty good for what it's worth. Its main weaknesses is its armor, and it's quite a big target when you spot it. So, a good recommendation to have for this tank is to just stay hidden. Don't go into the middle of the battle. Try and find a good place to hide, but don't camp, because if you stand still long enough, someone's bound to spot you. And artillery loves killing open top vehicles, because they're scumbags. And just keep aware of your surroundings. And this tank will teach you how to be a better tank destroyer player. So in a sense, this is a good tank to learn how to be a tank destroyer player. And of course, once you learn how to do it, you're immediately rewarded with the fact that you can easily destroy those who are less skilled than you, or who are less fortunate than you. Put it that way. So, now that we've talked about the tank itself, what kind of skills / equipment well, perks and skills slash equipment would you want to have if you wanted to keep this tank? I myself, I'm not probably going to keep it. I'm probably going to sell this thing and move on, but it's still a good tank. We'll go for the cruise, then we'll go for the experience. Actually, no, equipment first, then cruise. So, obviously, with as always, there isn't a ventilation shaft here. That is interesting. That's probably because it's an open top. So what I would recommend is medium caliber tank gun rammer, of course, and also where is it? Oh, hello. Oh, of course, it's a tank destroyer, so it doesn't need to have an enhanced gun laying drive. Haven't done a tank destroyer review in a while. So yeah, medium tank gun caliber rammer, always important. And of course, I would recommend coated optics actually. Oh, there's the enhanced gun laying drive. Yeah, so get that as well. That is very important because a 2.9, pardon me, 2.3. There we go. Aiming speed is, well, it's pretty poor. So enhanced gun laying drive and a medium caliber tank gun rammer is always a good idea. You could, if you wanted to, for the third one, as I always say, it's up to you, but you could, if you wanted to, have a few options. First of which, you can have a camouflage net, because obviously the more you hide yourself, the better chances of your survival. Always a handy thing. You could have coated optics or a binocular telescope, and probably a binocular telescope has a much better probably a much better choice, because most of the time you probably want to be stationary so you can shoot things. So that will be a very good idea. Or if you want, you could get something like a light spore liner, so that way if you are running about panicking about something, you are less likely to suffer from like explosions, because open top vehicles, when hit by artillery, because there is no cover between themselves and the lovely crisp smell of a gunpowdered shell, you might want to have some kind of protection. It's unlikely that you'd survive, but if there's a chance, maybe that's good. And don't forget also, if you're caught in between, if a tank comes charging at you, and you're like, oh shit, and it hits you, it's better to have some kind of protection than not to have protection, you know, because it's unsafe. But anyway, so stuff like that wouldn't be a bad idea. So 3 options: the ability to see further, the ability to hide yourself, or the ability to protect spore liner. Ammo rack, you're never going to worry about it, because if you get hit, you die anyway. Cyclone filter, nah, no problems with the engine. You don't really think, I don't think spending £500,000 just to repair your tracks is a very good idea. And yeah, pretty much, yeah, those 3 options is probably the best options if you want them. For your crew, for your commander, of course, you would probably want to have Sixth Sense, because let's face it, to be able to know that you've been spotted is a hell of a lot better than to say, ah shit, I didn't know I was spotted, and die. But beforehand, probably either recon, mentor, or repairs, because you occasionally lose your tracks. What is that one? Oh yes, I got a Top Gun response as well. Anyway, yeah. So I forgot about that as well. Jeez. So yeah, something to a skill to rank you up. Like probably camouflage would be probably a better idea, and then have Sixth Sense. So then afterwards, camouflage again or repairs. Then go to either Eagle Eye, because that's actually kind of a handy thing, or probably not Jack of all trades. That or recon. That, yeah, Eagle Eye, probably what you could do is camouflage or recon to train with, and once you've got them to 100%, swap them for Sixth Sense and Eagle Eye, so that way you can tell which bit of the tank is the most screwed up. For the gunner, now this is the thing which is interesting. Accuracy turret rotation is actually you don't have to worry about that sort of thing. Well, I don't know. I guess this is the question of the video. Does having snapshot increase your accuracy during rotation? Now, bearing in mind, this thing doesn't have a turret, but it rotates. So does that help? Thing to keep out for. If it does, then get that, because that's a skill. If it doesn't, forget about that. Get the camouflage, and once you've researched it to 100%, get Deadeye. This increases the chances of you being able to make someone's day go a little bit worse. Then, once you've got Deadeye, get research camouflage again, then get designated target, because that is very good. It basically means your gunner can keep your eye on the person who's been spotted for longer, and it might not just benefit yourself, but it also benefits your team. Because if they can see him, if you can see him for 2 seconds longer, your team can see him for 2 seconds longer, and perhaps could turn the tide. Who knows? For your driver, clutch braking is a recommended high, as it makes your ability, it gives you the ability to turn even faster than you thought. And once you've done that, go to smooth ride, because in case you ever need to off-road. I suppose smooth ride would be a good idea to have, because then if you ever need to pull a clutch shot, it actually helps you pull the clutch shot off, but I wouldn't recommend it. That or go off-road driving basically allows you to increase the ability to go faster when you're on off-road. So that's not too bad, hence off-road driving. For your loader, I would recommend camouflage, and then afterwards, we also act as the radio operator. So perhaps having situational awareness isn't a bad idea, but camouflaged or situational awareness, because that is also a skill. And then afterwards, have something like intuition, perhaps, or adrenaline rush. Because probably either adrenaline rush or intuition, but something tells me intuition probably will prove to be a better choice. Because when it comes to because in this one, basically it allows you to instantly switch instantly switch from one shell to another without having to reload. It doesn't do it much, but it creates the chance. There you go. We'll promptly switch between shell types either while the gun is loaded or during the loaded process. So in short, if you're using your regular armor piercing, but then you see a KV-1S come around the corner, and you think, right, I really do need to penetrate this guy, so then I flip over and I get my APCR out, that'll probably be it. So that's probably it'll instantly switch between the two, which is kind of helpful, but it doesn't guarantee that it does it every time. So yeah, that's a bit for the equipment and skills. Let's get into the battle itself. See what's going to go happening, because technically it wouldn't be a bad idea to go along this line, but the problem is where the enemies spawn, there'll be tanks along that perimeter pretty much as soon as you arrive. So the best thing to do is probably not to go there, and sort of just avoid. I mean, just be aware of your environment and perhaps not so keen to charge is the best way to put it. Not being a coward and camping, because that's not a very good idea at all. But don't be tempted to go into open areas where there isn't much security. If you know someone's ahead of you, that's an ally, and that can take care of it, then fantastic. But if you don't, just don't be too keen to go out there. Right, so there's a KV-1S. All it takes is one shot to hit, and we're dead. So even a low damage roll will screw a KV-1S up. Right, a little bit laggy, not what I wanted to have, but slowly does it. The gun depression for this thing isn't too fine either, which is what makes this thing even more of a you got to be careful when firing it. So there's an American M6. Fire! Ah, missed. Right, because I don't think I was spotted. Right, so back off. So now the VK3001P is going to appear to be... Ooh, good shot, Mr. KV-1S. Ah, AMX-40 charging the bridge. Brave Frenchman. Okay, let's not be tempted. You may have gotten away with this, Mr. AMX-40, but I shall have my revenge. Okay, so we've unfortunately lost a hell of a lot of our guys on our side. We've already lost our T1 Heavy, Stug, and Wolverine, and the Lee. And a few people who say, oh, the Lee deserved it. Right, we're not in a very good position. Hands are 4. The KV-1S is back out again. He's also shooting at people. I'm going to try and get a little shot at him, but no chance. Swing round, see what I can do from here. No such luck, so come back down. Right, they're all massing on the other side now, so I need to move back to base and just send a message to the chain saying, yo guys, there are bad guys over there. And the T-28 is not going to last long, so I'm going to now find a place to take cover. The game is pretty much looking like we're going to lose, but if we can kind of keep the enemy distracted, perhaps, you know, I've got a view of the bridge. Hopefully what will happen is I'll spot the enemy before they spot me. I am behind a bush, so hopefully we can just spot someone, catch them whilst they're crossing, and sort of just do something, because they are going to try and cross, I know it. Why wouldn't they? They've just broken through the flank. Right, there's the bridge. So where are they? There's the Cromwell. Right, a little bit risque, but if I can make the shot count, I can do a lot of damage to that guy. Fire! Bang! There we go, that's what I'd like to see. So a tier 6 tank, can I hit? Yes! Tier 6 kill, there we go. Admittedly, oh shit, right, move back, move back, move back. Right, we've lost our KV-1S, so now they have the heavy advantage. Right, pull back. Swing around, move, move, move. Right, we are completely defenseless in flank. But we can hopefully deploy. Right, there's the KV-1S enemy. He possibly knows where I'm at. He's coming this way. Right, we're running out of options and time, so let's get moving. Keep him spotted, lads. I need to know where he is. Right. So the game is looking pretty... We're actually even for kills now, which is pretty impressive, but of course it can all go tits up when you'd least expect it. Oh, fire! Ah, gutting. Right, try and get another one. Bang! Bang! There's a kill. Right, okay. And there's another enemy tank. Fire! Oh, I thought I got the tracks, but it turns out no. So we've actually turned this game around now. I honestly thought we were going to lose. Don't camp, Mr. Oh, jeez, I was about to get myself. Don't cap. You're going to die, mate. They'll know where you are, and they'll die, and bang! Oh! You see, there you go. There's the difficulty. There's the problem when it comes to shooting this thing. Bang! And it ricocheted, of course. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, we have a KV-1S. Okay. Oh, the game's over. That was close. Right, well, that was pretty damn good. So there you go, 2 kills. I didn't do that much in the game, unfortunately. But when you're the bottom tier, to survive is impressive. I spotted most of them. Unfortunately, I shot and some of them ricocheted. It's just the RNG shoot. It's RNG slash bad timing slash misses. But there you go. So that's very impressive. All these other tanks, pretty much all of them were either tier 5 or tier 6, and they died before me. And I was able to kill 2 tier 6s. And that's impressive. I will say, that is impressive. So, to do that in this tank, it's perfect. You will go through ammunition at a rate of knots, but you will love stuff like that. And that's pretty good, don't you think? I quite like that. It's good performance, of course. Now we're going to be having to go into another match, so it could be different. But no, touch wood, that was a good game. I like having a victory in a video, because then it shows the technical... Okay, you know, it shows a good side of the tank at least. I like to win so it shows the side of the tank that is good, rather than, well, it is good, says he who just lost 3 games. Right, what tiering am I at? I am in a tier 5 game, which is a little bit more forgiving, but nonetheless difficult. Oh, I wonder what side. I really wish they would allow us to drive up that hill and jump. I mean, seriously, imagine a Panzer 1C jumping off the top of that cliff. Right, okay, so we're going to probably have a lot of... Oh, there's an SU85B as well there. Right, so... Yes. Good luck, have fun. There you go, good luck, have fun. Forgot to type that in the last match. Does it affect the match overall? Don't know. Actually, it's good, polite manners. See, people are appreciative. This is the kind of game I like when people say, yeah, you too, you know. It's only a game, having a laugh. I've not actually heard them. Ironically enough, I'm very bad when it comes to bands. Right, so I'm going to have some pretty heavy backup here. I don't know, you too. That's the one with Bono, if I'm not mistaken. Ah, whatever. I'm sure someone in the comment section will say, you heinous crime. No, it was not Bono. Whoa, mister, I want a fancy to show my load off. Thanks for the stunt, though. Guess you got a little too excited. Hello. Right, driving in my SU85B. Right, well this... Oh, bugger hell. Shit. I was not paying attention and I got caught out. I am very lucky he didn't start shooting. But bollocks, the enemy now know I'm here. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, you mad KV-1? Oh god, you're gonna die. Won't be long. Oh god. Oh great, more tanks over there. Oh shit. Okay, I chose the wrong side. Bollocks. Right, I am ready for you now, though, mister. I'm going to scout. Poof! Yeah, you see that? I can shoot now. And I was about a couple of feet away from your tank. Nah, luckily there isn't any artillery, otherwise we really would be screwed. Though their LTP is somewhere nearby, and that thing is a menace, I tell you now. I do like that tank. It's a very nice tank. Oh... Oh, how you tempt me. How you tempt me. I can't take the shot. Oh, what a surprise, Mr. KV-1, who went all, Da Stalina died. Right, the Churchill is moving up. And our Durchbuswagen 2 is showing up as well. There's their T1 Heavy. I'm going to try and provide some kind of support whilst our heavy tanks are there. Right, okay. Be careful, be careful. No, 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 no. Bad idea, bad idea, bad idea, bad idea. I ricocheted something. That's impressive. I did some damage. Yay! Right, hang on. That T-49 is the biggest threat at the moment. To, like, oh, dude. Oh, shit. No, he's gone. Hang on. Can I clutch it? Can I clutch it? Bang! Yes, he's dead. Right, okay. Down, 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 down. Hello, Yankee scum. Oh, bollocks. Right, I'm going to die. Ah, crap. Ah, shit. I knew it was a bit risky me jumping over the top, but that said, I did get a kill and I did do some damage. Admittedly, crap. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. There's me thinking, oh, I'm a heavy tank now. And the irony is, we are probably going to win this match because we're already starting to make a push. Damn. What are you doing, Mr. T-49? I really do wonder when you get people like that who camp out at the base when really they should be on the front. Oh, so there's where that camping person was. Hang on, mate. I'll just... Oh, come on. Hang on, BW2. Whereabouts is he? Yeah, okay, he's been spotted. The Stuart can't really do anything. He made a wasting shot. And he's got the... Oh, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. Oh, come on. Turn round. Reverse. There you go. You're not going to die, mate. He can't pen you. And if you could hit him, that would be appreciated. Wow. Okay, that's impressive. The Churchill has somehow been able to get into the base and... The T-49 is just sitting there, twiddling his thumbs. Oh no, he can actually shoot. Okay, fair enough. I thought he was honestly just twiddling his thumbs going, herp, there's a bad guy in our base, but I don't see him. You know, sort of thing. Anyway, no, he's doing a good job, but there's an M3 Stuart right next to him. I'll mark him on the map. He should also, move. Because he's now been spotted. And the Stuart is about to kill him. Oh dear. Yeah, that's the bad side of being a tank destroyer. You get people who sit in the base and just do nothing. Should we cap? I'd say we should cap. But do we need to send the message? Don't. Actually, no. Technically, no. No. We shouldn't cap because there's a people inside the base already, and if we try and go back there, we'll lose the advantage of us winning. So it's a good thing... Oh, yeah, cap. So, well, as long as someone can reset the cap, which they are doing, and go T40, That's what you should do. Well done, T40. I almost said T49. Oh! Oh, no. Oh, he's missed. And he's stuck. He's stuck. Come on, come on, get him, get him. Come on, come on, come on. Get him! Shoot! Oh, no. 4 hit points. Oh. Reverse, mate, reverse. Don't turn. Ah, oh, there's the problem. He's panicking now. He's like, oh God, what are you doing? No, get in. Oh my God, what am I doing? And of course, now the game's over. That's the sign of a panicking player who just drives forward because you're panicking the player. So the M3 Stuart did a good job, but also so did the T40. So well played to all. Of course, the T49, who, despite making an attempt to save himself and the cap, should have done a thing called move, because either I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be judgmental, but when you're sitting there and you're shooting at someone, the general incentive for once you've shot someone is to start moving. Just saying. Unless you're, and he's a turreted tank, so he is less of an excuse. But anyway, enough of judgmental players. Yes, so that's about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this review and video, feel free to let me know by typing it in the comments section down below, clicking on the like button, and of course subscribing to my channel. Yeah, and also any feedback as well. Did I ramble on about something too much, or did I not give it enough detail? Did I was I quiet too much? Did you like seeing the after death thing? So even though I died in the video, I actually spectate and commentate on other players. Is that good for you? Do you like it? It's just general stuff like that. You know, I'm as much as I've been doing this for over a year now, I still appreciate feedback because, you know, as they say, feedback, if the audience don't like it, then I need to change something. So if there is something wrong, feel free to let me know. Anyway, that's about it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. This is craphunter, signing out.